Hey there future self, what is up? It is Pastel here. So this is my week 2 vlog, and what I decided that I want to start doing is I want to start doing just a vlog about the summary of what happened this week and a different vlog about my observations in terms of the culture and stuff this week. Because I think those are two kind of separate things. They kind of overlap a little bit, but they're mostly separate. So let me tell you what happened this week. I used to live in this room with this view, but now I live in this room with this view. Long story short, that's all there is to it. So last weekend, I kind of went to the mall a couple times. It's a big mall, very American, very modern. It's literally like American malls. I went to the mall a couple times because people in my program also want to go to the mall, and I was like, I like walking around the mall. But here's the thing, people in my program actually like to go shopping in the malls. I don't like to go shopping in malls. I prefer to do my shopping at thrift stores. And another thing I don't really get is, why would you go to a whole other country to go shopping to stores that are in America in a different country? They're going to places like Zara and Sephora. I've literally never been inside those stores before in Prague, but I don't get the point about why would you go. Like, if you're in a different country, go to stores specific to that country. You know what I mean? It doesn't really make sense to me. I don't know. I went and walked around like 20 times and I was like, no. On Monday, I had to go down to the CIEE office, which is my program's office, to get some forms for the new room change, because now I'm in this room as opposed to my old room, and then also to get new keys. I totally got lost while trying to find the office place. I pre-mapped it out before, so you'd think I would know exactly where I would go, right? And I kind of remembered most of it off of visual memory, and so I walked down, and what I realized later is that I actually walked past the building. I just approached it from a different angle than what I approached it before. So, I don't know. Anyway, I passed the building, but I didn't know it at the time, and then I walked like 4 minutes around and I was like, okay, this is definitely not right. I don't know where I'm going. And I have this vision because I remember this steep hill next to the office place, like when we were walked there before. I just need to find that steep hill and then it'll be around there because that was the visual cue. But I could not find that hill and I kept on walking around. Now let me tell you, I never have our cellular data on ever in Prague, really. So I turned on my cellular data and I typed in the address, and so I had to use Google Maps to get me there, right? Because I was totally lost and I had a time limit to get there because I had to go to work right after this. So I put the address into my Google Maps and I tried to find it, but the address was wrong or something like that. I don't know, it was the right address, but it took me to the wrong building and I was like, what the heck? So now I can't use Google Maps, I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing. So pretty much I took another lap around like the area where I was at. So it was in the general gist area. So after walking all the way around, I saw this hill that goes up, right? And I was like, okay, well, I remember that there was a hill going down near the building, so maybe if I take this hill up, it'll lead me to the down building, right? And so I walked up that hill and oh my gosh, it was the most gorgeous view you have ever seen. Like, it was beautiful. Like, look at this view right here. And it was on top of that hill and I was just like, oh my gosh. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in a hurry. I need to go here and then get to work in the next like hour, because that work was a 40-minute drive away. So not drive, but metro ride / walk away. I know I appreciated the view, took a couple selfies, and then I was out of there, and then I kept on walking straight across. I looked down and I was like, oh my gosh, there's the building. It was down that hill, and I walked down that steep hill that I remember seeing on orientation. So, you know, it all worked out. And then I got my keys and I went to work, and I was actually early to the working area. And so I walked around the block a couple times and I had blisters on my feet because I walked in uncomfortable shoes for long times, very fast. But you know, I made it. Also at work that day, we went out to lunch. Here in the Czech Republic, at least in the place where I'm working at, they tend to go out for lunch every single day. And when I say go out to lunch, I mean they go to like a sit-down restaurant, you know, get a couple beers, drink, and so they're there for about an hour, which is kind of the United States, because the United States, obviously, people kind of eat while they work. People might skip lunch if they're too busy. People in the United States don't really go out to eat for an hour just to kind of chill. Like, they don't even talk about work stuff when they're out to lunch, really, at least in my experience. They were just kind of chatting and having a good old time and drinking their beers like they do in the Czech Republic, I suppose. And on Monday, they paid for us, which was super nice. The food was pretty good. And then also throughout the rest of the week, they kept on going out to lunch. And I think that's something they do pretty much every day. Not everybody goes every day. I decided I cannot afford that every day because it's about $8-ish every day for lunch. $8 includes the meal, the water, because water costs money, and then the tip, which again, $8 for lunch is not that bad, especially at like a sit-down restaurant, but I can't afford that every single time. So maybe I'll do do like once a week I'll go out with them, maybe never, and I'll always pack my own lunch. I don't know, part of it's peer pressure. I feel like I should go out, I should be with the team, but part of it's like I don't want to spend $8 for lunch every single day. They're getting paid, I'm not. Lunch tends to be kind of like the bigger meal of the day, and then dinner is sort of the smaller meal of the day. So that also makes sense why they go out to eat for lunch, because it is their biggest meal of the day, as opposed to going out to dinner. And the restaurants are actually fairly busy during lunchtime. I know in the United States, whenever you go to lunch, you know, and like during the middle of a weekday, it's not that busy, and the busiest time is probably like Friday night. But here, when we went out to lunch on Monday or Tuesday, that it was extremely busy. Like I would say Friday night busy for the United States. On Tuesday, I moved up to this room where I'm at now. It's very nice. It looks very modern. This week at my internship, I literally have not been doing anything. I think they've been trying to find me stuff to do, but I really haven't done anything at all. I edited my video for week 1, and that's how I was able to get that up. So I didn't mind it because I was able to edit that video during work. Motivation is also pretty low because I didn't really have anything to do. They told me to research a couple things because they want me to start working on an e-sport video, and then they have this idea for like a video for the advertising agency that I'll make for like a promotional video. And they also have kind of a video vlog they want me to do for their company. So it's kind of like what I'm doing personally, just with their camera. But I really hadn't done anything, and part of me doesn't really mind it, and part of me like wants to do something because I'm there, so I might as well do something. Although I did look up esports because I guess one of their branches is like an esport business or whatever, so I had to look up that, and I might start working on a video for them soon. And then by Friday, they gave me the camera that I will be using. It's a Canon 600D, and they want me to make a video vlog documenting my experience. Of course, in order for me to document my experience, I need to start actually doing something. I don't know what their idea is exactly for me yet, but I didn't really do a lot this past week, and it kind of just didn't feel. On Wednesday, we went off to an orchestra. It was pretty good. I mean, look at this view. We got lost getting there, and we ended up getting there like a minute after it started, and they had closed the doors right at time. Unlike United States now, where it's like, you know, oh, something starts at 7:30, but then it really starts like 7:40. No. See, in Prague, they closed the doors right at the time that's supposed to start, which we knew, but we still got lost because we're new to the city. We ended up actually passing it, and then it took us to like the back entrance, and so then we had to go back around. I think if we would not have gone to the back entrance, we would have gotten there in time. Man, a lot of things this past week had me passing up what I needed to go to, but I just didn't know it. On Thursday, we went to this, what's it called? This is like an invisible exhibition, and pretty much we were led around this room by like a blind person, and pretty much it was kind of like a blind person museum exhibit sort of thing, if that's what you can call it. You walk into this maze of a sort, and it's completely pitch black. It's different rooms, for example, like a kitchen, a living room, a bathroom, a forest, the street, a shed, things like that. And there's about 7 of us. They broke us up into 2 groups, so there's 2 groups of 6 to 7, right? And then we have a blind person leading us into this pitch black room. We have to keep one hand on the wall at all times, either the right or the left, and then she'll come over, the blind person, and she'll take our hand and lead us to the next obstacle, or we have to hold onto the shoulders of the people in front of us. Pretty much, it was very cool, and we could not see a thing. So like, you just kind of run into things. At one point, we're in the bathroom, and I had my hand on the right wall, and then and then turned it again, right, and then the floor got different as I followed the turn, and I realized I was actually in the shower. And I was like, oh shoot, I'm in the shower, so I had to get out of the shower. You can't see anything. One thing was on top of a dresser. She was like, feel this, and nobody could feel what it was, and I was feeling it, and I was like, what is this? Because it went like this, and like this, and it was a sewing machine, and that took me a solid second. I was glad I actually knew what a sewing machine was, so I was pretty proud that I was able to figure that out. This tour is about an hour long as we go through these different stages and challenges. She talked about what it's like being blind, and we cannot see a thing. And she took us to this like bar scenario kind of deal, and we all found a seat, we sat down, and then she would pour us drinks in the back, and we got to order, and we had to pay without being able to see anything, so we took out coins, and she was like, okay, now feel the sides, you know, what kind of coin is this, right? And I ended up getting sweet tea with lemon. It was like lemonade tea. It was extremely good. And then also back in the waiting area, we got to play some games that we would fit for blind people. Like they had chess, checkers, and this other game I don't really know. And pretty much, you know, kind of by the raised squares and the bumps in the board and the different pawns and pieces, you can kind of figure out what is what by just feeling. On Friday, we went downtown to the Old Town area to have dinner, which was actually the most expensive meal I have had while here. It was about $16 for the meal, but I did bring leftovers, but still, that's the most expensive meal I've spent so far in the Czech Republic. And then went to this candy store, which was a lot of fun, Captain Candy. And pretty much it's like a major tourist attraction, but it was a lot of fun. Like, look at all of this candy, just rows and rows of candy. And I had to get something because I wanted to try it because it looked so good, right? And one of the most cool things I found were these silver white chocolate covered almonds. They taste okay, I guess. They're probably really unhealthy because the silver is kind of mirrored, and I'm sure that's not healthy at all. And it was cool, but super overpriced. I think I spent like $10-ish, but I know some people in my program, they spent $30 because, you know, they fill up their bag and it was by the gram, and then it was overpriced. But, you know, that's what you get for going to Old Town, right? And most of the candy was pretty good, although I already ate all of it. After the candy store, we went to this chocolate store, and the people I was with were obsessed with this chocolate that their roommate got a few days before, and so they had to find the chocolate, and they got the chocolate, and I later tried the chocolate, and it was pretty good chocolate. It kind of tasted like a Crunch Bar, but a fancier version of Crunch Bar. It was a chocolate museum, they called it, and there was a lot of chocolate. Also, when we were walking back from downtown, we saw this image right here, and there's like peepholes looking through, right? And I was pretty sure that through the peepholes it was just construction because it looked like construction, but a lot of people were looking through the peepholes, and I was like, okay, well, what if it's something more than construction, right? So then we walked up and we looked through the peepholes, and it was literally just construction. So I don't know why they have peepholes for you to look at construction. I mean, if you want to go to Michigan and look at construction, look out your front door. I mean, look out your front door here in Prague too. There's construction going on everywhere, so I'm not sure why you need people to look at construction. Are people really that curious? Like, if so, they should, honestly, they should charge like 10 crowns for people to just like look in there. I bet people would pay 10 crowns to look, because curiosity gets the best of you. I probably would have been a victim. And then on Saturday, we went to this castle, which was super cool. It was where Charles IV lived, and Charles IV named everything in Prague. That's what Charles Bridge is named after, that's what Charles University is named after. Charles IV was a pretty prominent figure, and so we got to visit his castle, which looked pretty cool. And then we went to these America quarries. Look at these pictures, or go to my Facebook and look at more pictures, because like they were gorgeous. Honestly, I love hiking. Like, hiking is probably my #1 favorite thing. It's hard because you travel uphill. Like, let me tell you, we walked for like 10 minutes up to get up to the castle. It was all uphill. Once to the top of the castle, we did a tour of the castle, and after a tour of the castle, we went to lunch, and then after lunch, we walked up an even more hill. Like, we were walking over, I don't know, like 15 minutes, 20 maybe. It was all uphill, and we were just in trees, right? And then once we get to the top of the hill, we look over and there's like these little views, and we're like, oh, you know, that's really pretty. I think we saw like 3 different quarries over there, and they were all really kind of super pretty. But the third one was just gorgeous. And while we were walking, we saw a lot of different landscapes. We saw a couple people camping, actually. We saw fields that made me question if I was back in Michigan or Illinois or Indiana. And then I saw these rolling hills, and then we saw this little village down below. And it was beautiful, but the cons, oh my gosh, like, look at this. Let me show you. Do you see this? Okay, do you see this right here? That is my phone, and I have no idea how it got cracked. I have a glass screen protector on this thing, and the glass screen protector is fine. Like, there is literally not a scratch on my glass screen protector, but yet right here in this area, it's all cracked. And the crack spreads throughout the phone, kind of like a spider web going out. It's not that bad in this part area, it's just really bad right here. And I honestly don't understand how this happened, because again, my glass screen protector is fine. It's totally like underneath, it's like the actual screen that's cracked. And I don't know how that happened. Because my glass screen protector is fine. It obviously all locates right here, so you'd think, like, I did fall while I was at the quarries because we were going down this super steep, rocky, downhill sort of thing. I'm sure there was a different path to get down, but we took this super steep path down, right? And I totally slid and I fell, and I had my phone in my hand, and so I'm guessing it probably fell on a rock and hit it. But you would think that there would be some mark on the glass screen protector, but there is no mark on this glass screen protector right at this point of impact. And my case is completely fine. We'll have to figure that out later. That kind of sucks. But so the quarries were super cool. We took a train there and back, and we were talking to our program people, and they were saying how they were shocked that we don't really take trains all that often in the United States, because I think trains in the United States are a lot more expensive than they are here in Europe. The train station looked pretty cool. It was very fancy, very photogenic. I need to take my camera there sometime. I did laundry for the first time too. I know how to do laundry kind of, but here they don't have dryers, so you have to kind of hang all your clothes. So I hung all my clothes and I let them dry and then I put them away. Although their washing machines don't fit as many clothes in the United States. In the United States, I fit like a lot of clothes in there, but here, like not all my clothes fit, and I definitely did a smaller load than I would do in the United States. Over on our hike, one girl said that in the total, as we were leaving the hike, she looked at her Fitbit and it said that she walked 9 miles that day. And that was at like 4 or 5 o'clock. So total yesterday, I probably walked like 10 miles. It was a lot. But again, I like walking, I like hiking, so I was all for it. As we were walking back from the quarries, we passed this graveyard. We went through this cute little village. We passed this couple getting married. They looked very hippie vibe, but I mean, look at these pictures. Now that I've been here for a couple weeks in Prague, I think I'm starting to fit in a little bit more with the local kind of vibe. So much, in fact, that people are starting to speak to me in Czech, which is a problem. I took my camera out to the park the other day and I was just taking some pictures. And then this guy started talking to me. He was with somebody else, so I didn't feel threatened or anything. But this guy started talking to me in Czech, and obviously I don't speak Czech. So, you know, in my head, I was just like, no habla español. I said, sorry, I don't speak Czech. And then he said sorry and I just kind of walked away. But for some reason, Spanish is always my first instinct here in the Czech Republic. Like when people say something in Czech, I'm like, ¿Cómo estás? For some reason, I resort to Spanish when I hear a different language. My new flat buddy took us to this park with this pretty view. There are a lot of beautiful views here in the Czech Republic. Michigan's not that hilly in this part of Michigan. I'm sure up here in this area of Michigan, it gets pretty hilly. And it is, but I've never really been to this part for an extended period of time, and I've never really been to this part for an extended period of time either. But I can speak for this part, and it's not hilly. But I like, also here, I got lemonade a couple times. Of the 4 times I've gotten lemonade here in the Czech Republic, 3 of the 4 times, they add carbonated water to their lemonade. I do not like carbonated water, I do not like carbonated things. So I don't know why they add carbonated water to the lemonade. I can get how some people like it, but I really don't like it. I also went to this new grocery store down by my work. It's definitely a more local kind of grocery store, and it's very nice. I think I'll have to go there more often. But there too, the checkout lady, she speaks Czech, right? And I got a red pepper. Let's just pretend for a moment that my phone is the red pepper that I got. She picked the red pepper and she looked at me and she went like this and she said like, insert Czech here. And I was just like, I don't know what she's saying. But then she went like this and she was talking Czech and she was pointing back over there. And then at first I thought she wanted me to put the red pepper in a bag, but then I realized that she wanted me to weigh the red pepper, because she kept going like this, and there was a weighing scale over there. So I took the red pepper and I went to go weigh it. There was a button that looked like fruit and the button that looked like vegetable. So I clicked the button that looked like vegetable, and then I clicked the red pepper, and then I clicked the green button in the bottom right hand corner, and I put the red pepper on the scale, and then the thing came out and I put it on. Look at me figuring out Czech weigh things. So yeah, in general, that was my week. Hopefully you start doing more in your internship, we will see. I'm actually about to go to the zoo in a little bit, so I'll talk about that in next week's video, I suppose. So, peace out, future self.